afternoon. Well, Donald John's in Europe, giving away the country to the real sharp one amongst the two, Mr. Little Hands, Little Person, Little Everything Else, Putin. And Donald John, he's going to give away the whole country. Very little chance that he won't. It's pretty pathetic when the President of the United States of America is so weak, so ignorant, so stupid, so illiterate, so all of those things, that the entire nation is trembling as to what he's going to give to Russia. It seems that Ukraine and Eastern Europe could turn into a massive cemetery. Trump doesn't have the overall knowledge, he doesn't have the ability, and he doesn't have the goals to even deal in a worldwide conference that he's now attending. He's a buffoon. He doesn't even realize that everyone is laughing at him. The European leaders can't tolerate him, can't stand him. Putin thinks he's nothing but a piece of garbage that he already knows he's a piece of garbage because he's been doing business with him all these years. But the bottom line here is that we here in the United States, we're watching our entire country slip into the third and fourth world nationhood that Trump would let us get to. What's his concern? His concern is really Donald Trump. He's going to get in there, and little Putin is going to pat him on the ass and tickle his chin and tell him how brilliant he is and what a genius he is. And gee, Donald John, everyone thought you were going to lose, and guess what? You won. Indeed, Donald John, I hope I have hair like that when I'm 71 years old, and whoop-de-doo and all that good stuff. And Trump will turn around and say, well, here, take a look at this. These are my dispatches from the CIA telling me where all your spies are and where all our spies are. And I thought maybe if the two of us sit down and talk about our spies, things could be different. Well, they're going to be different, all right, when Putin kills all of ours. It's a foolish thing to talk about, but the truth of the matter is that's how frightened the CIA is of Donald John. There's actually a lot of chatter from what I've heard and read and seen that high-ranking CIA officers don't want to give him the information that he needs. They're afraid that what he'll do with it. So I mean, we should all be here worried that our own nation is being sold down the drain, and for what? Because Donald John has close to $1 billion in loans with the Russian mafia, the so-called phony Russian banks, and the Putin allies. We've been sold out, my friends. The American people have been sold out. We studied, at least when I was in school, we studied. I have no idea what they teach nowadays, but we had people like Benedict Arnold who sold us down the drain, or tried to sell us down the drain. And that's history. Have no clue what's going to happen in the history books with Donald Trump. If there still be history books when he's finished with us, there's no telling. I mean, he's convinced the world that I shouldn't say convinced the world. He's convinced his ignorant, moronic voters that voted for him, those 63 million idiots, that the press is all phony. Really? It's amazing to me. I never realized the press was all phony. I know that Fox is phony. I know that I guess there's a news program called Now or some damn thing. That's phony as hell. And you've got, it's pretty easy to see the right-wing Breitbart people online. They're pathetic. It's sick to even think about those people as patriots. Republicans used to be a party that ran around talking about how patriotic they were, how pro-America they are. And, all these countries, and those bad Russians, and blah, blah. Now, I just saw on the news, on phony CNN or MSNBC, one of them talked about the fact that 40% of Republicans don't think Russia hacked us. Now, think about that. 40% of Republicans don't think Russia hacked us. I don't know who the hell they think hacked us. They probably don't think anybody hacked us. because that's what Donald John says. And if Donald John says it, it's got to be true. Oh, that is just sick. Anyway, you know what I just noticed? Ooh, a little thing on the shoulder. It's a brand new t-shirt, folks. My wife got it for me. It says Starbucks Kafifi. We know what that is, Kafifi. Anyway, getting back to Donald John. It's a pretty pathetic scenario when the president of the United States is selling out his own country. And he's selling it out for a few hotels. That's what really blows my mind, selling it out for hotels. Anyway, I thought it appropriate just a few days after the 4th of July to bring a few things up that just really hurt. As probably some of you that stayed home noticed that there was an awful lot of chatter on the TV box about the Revolutionary War and the Civil War. And I happened to settle on Ken Burns, who just does an incredible job talking about the Civil War. And I have to tell you, those 600,000 men that died and the 2.5 million that were wounded and maimed and just destroyed, that's still going on, folks. The Confederacy is still alive and kicking. Don't think it's not. You saw the resurrection of the Confederate States of America on the night that Barack Obama was inaugurated, when Mitch McChinless of Kentucky and the rest of the Republican so-called haters, which are really KKK people in 2017, decided to do everything they could to destroy the first black president of the United States. And they did a hell of a job, from stealing a Supreme Court justice nominee to destroying legislation, stopping legislation. They did a hell of a job. The KKK, or the Republican Party, whichever you'd like to call them, is alive and well. And I just have to tell you, those same Confederate States of America are really in the same position they were in the 1800s. California, New York, all of the blue states, they pay the absolute majority of the taxes and get very little back. Whereas the Southern Confederacies, the Mississippis and the Oklahomas and the Alabamas and the Louisianas, they can't even make enough money for their own fucking budgets. They have to get money from the federal government that the federal government gets from, those elites, all these horrible elites. Those are the ones that pay taxes. The non-elites in the Confederate States, they're just too ignorant to make enough money to pay taxes, I guess. And those good old boys, they get a few bucks and they buy themselves a gun to put in the rack of their pickup truck. And then they buy themselves another gun and another gun and another gun and another gun. I believe that the Confederate States of America have, I remember reading recently, about 86% of all guns owned in this country belong to whites in the former Confederate States. Now, personally, I wish they would convince their senators and their House of Representative folks and everyone else to let them secede. Boy, I would vote for that in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. And I'd throw in Kansas, I'd throw in Utah, the Dakotas, and Wyoming, and they could have them. They could kiss my ass. Oh, don't forget, take Indiana on your way out, too, and take Pence. Just think, you could have President Pence as the first president of the Confederate States of America. Whoop-de-doo and Jesus too. You guys would have a good old time. Anyway, I don't want to bug you too much today. I'm sort of stunned watching the protesters in Germany and thinking of the nightmare that Trump is perpetrating on the American people when he meets with Putin. I want you to have a great day. And I'm going to ask you one more time, please. Well, actually, I'm going to ask you every time. Please be so kind as to tell your friends to watch this little show. I try and bring you up to date on a daily basis and try and tell you the truth. Tell you the way things really honestly are, not the way the pundits of the TV stations show you to be. Pundits will sit there and say, I think this, and I think that, and I think that, and this is that. They have no clue. The pundits on TV, whether they're Fox and losers or MSNBC, Rachel and Chris are pretty good. Chris Hayes. Actually, Rachel's fantastic. I actually believe most of what she says. I agree with. Actually, the only thing I disagree, I digress again. My wife's going to kick me. The one thing I vehemently disagree with Rachel Maddow on, and only one thing so far that I've ever seen, and that is that she is against term limits. Wow. When you look at some of these people that have been in Congress for 30, 40 years, give me a break, Rachel. The hell with term. We need term limits. 12 years max. Anyway, I digress. That's another show. Ask your friends, everybody, to tune in, sign up, and I'll speak to you again tomorrow. Take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.